Question. What kind of
Battle Royale.
is best?
That's a ridiculous question.
False.
Fortnite.
Well, that's debatable. There are basically two schools of thought.
Fact. Bears eat beets.
Oh.
Bears beats Battlefield.
Firestorm.
Bears do not... What is going on? What are you doing?
Playing Fortnite isn't fun.
Jim, millions of families suffer every year. Michael! Oh, that's funny. Michael!
Hey everyone, Smarty771 here with another video. Today's video, if you haven't guessed already, is a comparison video between Battle Royale games to find, as Jim aptly put it, the best one. Battle Royale games have taken the gaming community by storm ever since PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds hit the scene as a full game and not just an Arma 3 mod. Since then, other companies such as Epic, Respawn, and even DICE have taken a crack at the game mode to attract the player base that PUBG so effectively created. So, in this video, I will be asking the question, which of these is best? I will be comparing large-style Battle Royale games in this video, so sorry Counter-Strike Danger Zone, you'll have to sit this one out. I will be focusing on the big four: PUBG, Fortnite, Apex Legends, and Battlefield's Firestorm mode. I'm also leaving out COD's Blackout mode since I have no experience playing it, and it doesn't seem to be making as big as a splash as at least the first three on this list. In a similar fashion as my Star Wars Battlefront comparison video, I will be driving this discussion with qualities and aspects of each game that could be compared to one another. These qualities will be each game's development, graphics, gameplay, and overall fun factor. I will talk about each game one by one and assign each game between 1 and 5 points. Whatever game ends up with the most points at the end wins. It would only be appropriate to begin with the game that started it all, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. PUBG's development was and is abysmal. This is the reason I stopped playing it and uninstalled it actually, aside from the fact that I really suck at it. Just go look at any of my PUBG videos. The game was released as an early access title running like absolute garbage and with more bugs than anyone could count. The game used and still uses basic Unreal Engine assets from the Unreal Store in lieu of creating original props and textures for the game. When the game was released from early access, it seemed to only be in title and not in performance or improvements. It felt like an early access game and not a full release then, and still feels that way now. PUBG's development has been slow and buggy, and instead of improving the game, the developers decided to follow Fortnite's example of microtransactions and seasons to milk customers for money instead of improving the game. This is shown through new bugs introduced through each update and old fixed bugs coming back time and time again. This game is also plagued with many cheaters, most of them from China, and they don't seem to be going away anytime soon. I give this game a 1 for development because of how lazy and greedy the development team is. No need to improve a game when it is making you millions upon millions of dollars. I already touched on this in the development category. PUBG's assets are from the Unreal shop, not from original ideas and creations. The graphics look cartoony and crappy, and not in a good way. Borderlands has a style of cartoony, and it executes it well. PUBG just looks like a game from 2008 with 4K textures slapped on. I give this game a 2 for graphics. I'll give PUBG a little slack with the gameplay, having paved the way for mainstream Battle Royale games. It executes the excitement and frustration of winning and losing extremely well. The game draws you in this way. The thrill of winning is amazing and adrenaline pumping, but the sadness of losing is absolute. Even though the gunplay is clunky, driving vehicles is buggy and weird, and character movement feels like an action figure covered in glue, the trend-setting aspect of this game can't be ignored. And for that, I give it a 4 for gameplay. This one is tricky. Like I said before, you love winning, but you hate losing. Since I suck at it, I do not have many win moments, but I do have many self-hatred fueling moments. I do not have fun playing this game, so I uninstalled it. If I was doing this as a completely personal list, I'd give it a 1. But for the sake of trying to stay at least a smidge objective here, I will give it a 3, since I know that there are many of you out there who swear by this game. This leaves PUBG with a measly total of 10 points. Next is Fortnite, the young generation's favorite game. The game that makes kids beg their parents for V-Bucks and do cringy dances in public. Let's see how it does. Quick disclaimer. Although it is important to acknowledge the fact that Epic has become a terrible company that overworks its employees and snipes games to become exclusives on their buggy spyware store, I believe that for the sake of this video, we should focus on the game as a standalone entity and only talk about the aspects of the game that we are comparing. Fortnite came onto the scene hot on the tail of PUBG. Fortnite was an early access title that originally had been in development as a save the world and build bases and fight zombies kind of game, but this all changed when they offered their free Battle Royale game mode, which absolutely exploded once released. Since the game was free, anyone could download it and jump into the action. Quickly, the game came up in popularity right there beside PUBG and even came up to the point where the fan bases were practically the same size, and then Fortnite surpassed PUBG as the most popular Battle Royale game. Since this was the case, and Epic Games Studios was making a fortune off of the game's strategy of seasons, skins, and microtransactions, Epic all but abandoned the original idea of the game in order to focus on what was making the most money. This left the original backers of the project feeling abandoned, but made the massive and still growing player base of the Battle Royale mode very happy. Since this game burst onto the scene at the right time, being very playable and always being freshly updated with seasons and events, but also abandoning their original ideas and backers to chase the fame, I give this game a 4 for development. This game looks as fun as it plays. The bright colors, the silly skins, the neat smoke on the tip of the guns after shooting, it's all really fun to look at. The game looks and plays great on every platform. There isn't that much to criticize here, so I'll give it a 4 in graphics, even though it isn't my personal style. The gameplay of this game is the furthest from tactical a game like this can get. Hiding doesn't always pay off, and neither does sneaking. Players can spam the jump button and build their way to the sky when in a gunfight, so natural cover matters very little, especially when practically everything in the map can be destroyed for resources. The gameplay is casual outside of the competitive scene. This style, again, isn't really my type, but it's executed well. I'll give this game a 4 as well for gameplay. I don't like Fortnite. It isn't my type of game, but millions upon millions upon millions of people play it, so it must be doing something right. I can't relay it all, but I've got to try to stay objective. I will give it a balanced 3. Don't kill me, I'm just trying to be honest from an outside perspective. I have less than 10 hours in the game across all platforms I've played it on. Wrapping up, Fortnite is left with a pretty good total of 15 points. The next game is Respawn's Apex Legends, a game that stole the scene with very little ceremony and blew everyone's expectations away. Apex seemed to come out of nowhere, and oh man did it surprise. At launch, the game was a complete product and it was free. It quickly gained a massive player base and is rivaling even Fortnite in sales and players. The game is also being updated with new cosmetics, weapons, and legends as time goes on. I give this game a 5 for development for having a very solid launch and maintaining quality through its life cycle. The game runs on the same engine, the Source engine, as Respawn's other flagship series, Titanfall. In fact, Apex Legends takes place in the same universe as Titanfall, so it's only appropriate that their graphics are similar. The Source engine is famous for being a well-optimized and flexible engine to build games with, so even at launch, Apex ran silky smooth and looked like a 2019 game should. I'll give this game a 4 for graphics for keeping quality while not pushing the limit. This game is different than all the other battle royales on this list due to the fact that instead of everyone starting with 0 extra abilities or buffs, each player in a squad can pick legends, hence the name, which complement each other and can be a killer team if used correctly. Each legend has a special ability with warm-up and cooldown times as well as other abilities that set them apart from one another. This aspect of gameplay was incredibly well balanced at launch and has remained that way so far. The player movement minus the wall running and gunplay are taken from Titanfall, which already had a well-designed movement system, so that smooth run and gun feel effectively carried over into Apex Legends. I give this game a 4 for gameplay for having copied aspects of other games in the universe, but also for having added an effective and fun spin to the Battle Royale genre. When Apex launched, it was the most fun I had in a BR game up to that point. It was moderately tactical while also having a not-so-serious vibe to it. It sort of combined the tactical experience of PUBG with the fun focus and fun graphics look of Fortnite, and it did so in a way that really connected with me and many other players. The game's mechanics and atmosphere are so well tuned and effective, it really stands out from the rest. I give this game a 5 for overall fun factor. Having said that, Apex Legends is left with 18 points, the most so far. Finally, let's talk about Battlefield Firestorm, the not so anticipated BR game that appeared late to the scene, but still has quite a bit to offer. Firestorm was part of Battlefield 5's live service by EA and DICE. Development of the game was handed off to Criterion Games, so DICE didn't have a direct hand in the development of this mode. Criterion was given the game engine and assets and created a pretty well done Battle Royale game. It was announced to be part of Battlefield 5 before Battlefield 5 even launched, but it was later added on that it would not be part of the game at launch, which was a huge disappointment. In fact, Firestorm didn't become playable until March of 2019, a full 4 months after the release of the base game. I was unable to play the game right when it launched due to moving, but from what I hear, the game launched without too many bugs or issues. At least the game mode launched as a complete product. I give this game a 3 for being well developed and a great product, but also for being very late to the BR scene and bamboozling players with its announcement and launch date. Firestorm runs on DICE's Frostbite engine, a gorgeous engine that thrives in destruction and changes to environments. Battlefield has always been a series with modes played on massive maps, and the Frostbite engine is more than capable of stably rendering huge chunks of land and textures for the player to look at. The game runs smooth enough, being on a newer and heavier version of the Frostbite engine, and everything looks as it should. I do not have an RTX graphics card, so I am unable to tell you how the ray tracing performs on the biggest Battlefield map ever. I give this game a perfect 5 for graphics. Smooth as butter is all I can say. The gunplay is straight from Battlefield 5's base game, which is really well done to begin with. The small changes to the BR style of capturing reinforcements for decked out guns or opening bunkers for tanks is really great and keeps players moving and not hiding the whole time. There is more to do in this mode than simply survive. I like how the Firestorm, the circle mechanic of this game, is difficult to maneuver in, so it discourages you greatly from staying outside the circle because your visibility is greatly decreased on top of the player taking damage over time. I gotta say, I think the Fire is the best rendition of the circle in any of these Battle Royale games. It provides good cover for flanking people inside the circle and destroys everything, even buildings, as it roars towards you. I give this game another perfect 5 for gameplay for being so well executed and exciting to play. Next to Apex, Firestorm is some of the most fun I've ever had playing a Battle Royale game. I am already a Battlefield junkie, so playing one of my favorite game modes in my favorite series is like a dream come true. I am not at all disappointed in this game aside from its later rival. The fire, the guns, the vehicles, the graphics, the capture points. It's just all so well executed and fun to play. I can lose hours and hours to this game, and I already have. And on top of that, the final circle at the end starts closing in at the 25-minute mark every time. So the game doesn't ever last more than 25 minutes and 30 seconds, which is nice. It keeps you moving. I give this game a 5 for overall fun factor. This leaves Firestorm with 18 points, the same as Apex. So, which of these two ones is best? My personal preference is Firestorm. Like I said earlier, I am a Battlefield fan and a Battlefield junkie to the death. But Apex is free and had an amazing launch with a huge amount of people jumping on board to play immediately, while Firestorm did not have anywhere close to that kind of reception or fan base. I'm going to say that Apex Legends is the best Battle Royale game. I love Battlefield, but I just feel that Apex did a few things better and simply wowed more people than Firestorm did. What do you guys think of my analysis? What is your favorite Battle Royale game? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is Smarty771 signing off, and I'll see you guys in the next video.